And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hi, welcome to the show. This is the Into the Weeds podcast of Military Broadcast Radio. I'm Alora, and today I'm doing my first ever solo show, so bear with me. We're just trying our best here. That being said, we're going to be doing like a generalized news episode talking about like kind of some of the stuff that's happened within the past couple weeks. And I have some good stuff for you. I don't know if you can tell, but I changed the set just a little bit. So that it could reflect more so me. We got little Danny over here in the corner. I kind of like girled him up. He used to have his ears pierced, or like he still does. I just couldn't find any cool earrings. I couldn't find the ones that he normally wears. So anyway, yeah, we're just kind of vibing. So that being said, we have some cool stuff to get into. And the first thing that wasn't even on my list of things to talk about, but is pretty significant news, is just a couple hours ago, it was announced that Joe Biden is actually officially dropped out of the race and has been replaced with Kamala Harris. We are going to get into a little bit of politics later, but generally speaking, I try and stay out of politics a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I believe and everything. I would say I'm definitely a little bit more left than the majority of the people that are on this platform, but that's totally cool. But regardless, man, I'm excited to hear that he has dropped out because I think everyone knows it was kind of like elder abuse at this point. I mean, like he was just clearly not doing well. I don't particularly like Kamala though either. So like, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. That being said, I see a couple people are coming in. This is my first ever solo stream, so wish me luck. If anybody wants to comment on anything or call into the show, I think we have a call-in number. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to the comments this time since I don't really have anybody to bounce my ideas off of. But yeah, anyway, let's just kind of get into it. So yeah, as I said before, Joe Biden dropped out of the race. So we'll see how that goes. I really am just scared for America, literally no matter what happens. So yeah, we'll see how everything goes. That being said, let's see. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about today, it's probably the thing that I have the least amount to say. So we're basically just going to watch a video on it. But there was a new discovery on Mars. Mars. Let's see.
From the surface of Mars was an accident. The Mars Curiosity rover drove over this rock and crushed it, and inside were these yellow crystals. So obviously the rover did a 180 and then used an instrument on its arm to figure out what this is. Turns out this is elemental sulfur, which is just pure sulfur, which has never been found on Mars before. And elemental sulfur only forms in very specific regions on Earth, like volcanic regions or in sour gas reservoirs, which is obviously not where this rover found this rock. This area is not volcanic, but there is evidence that it had floods and avalanches in the past. But it gets weirder because the rover looked around and it saw other rocks that looked just like the one it crushed. In fact, a field of them. It is probably surrounded by elemental sulfur. And scientists don't know why it's there, how it got there, or what it means. This is where that field is on a map of Mars, and some good news, even though sulfur is known for smelling like rotten eggs, this shouldn't because it's pure sulfur, and pure sulfur doesn't have a smell.
Okay, so I don't really have much to comment on that, but I just saw that as I was preparing for the show earlier. It wasn't one of the things that was supposed to be in the show. And I was like, oh my God, a new Mars discovery? I'm not much of a science girly, but anytime, so I couldn't exactly explain to you everything that's happening there. That being said, I always think it's super cool whenever there's a new discovery in outer space, and I think it's something that's worth mentioning. But I don't really have much to say on it. So I think we're just going to roll on to the next topic. Okay, so I know that I said I don't really get into politics much, which is going to remain true for the most part. This next segment is a bit political. That being said, it's pretty neutral, and it's something that's not really going to affect any of us. So I think it's safe for us to dive into. That being said, Krist Novaselic from the band Nirvana. He was the bassist, and he's had a couple other side projects and stuff. He was a Democrat for several years, and then he started running with an independent party. I think he's kind of floated around a little bit. Most recently, he was a part of the Forward Party. And from what I understand, they don't lean left, they don't lean right, they just go forward. And that's kind of what they were dealing with. For the record, I have not done much research into what that party is, but he has decided to open up his own new party, and it really only affects the state of Washington. So if we have any Washington viewers here, this will be something that you might want to get in on. Like I said before, Krist Novaselic from the band Nirvana, he started a new party called the Cascade Party of Washington. And if I remember correctly, I think it has to do with Cascade Mountain Range that's in Washington. And so, yeah, he basically, let's see if I can find video real quick. And I totally forgot. I'm going to have to like pause and start all these dang videos. Let's see. I'm trying not to have dead air, but I lost the one I'm trying to look for. I think it's it. Oh, come on. Okay, this is
Hello, I'm Krist Novaselic, and I'm inviting you to a new kind of political party. The Cascade Party is innovative with our use of private social media with political association. And check out our platform. The old parties are losing it. The time is now to build a new party. Let's work together to build our future. We need 1,000 valid signatures for the state to recognize us as a bona fide political party. Click on the link above and sign our digital nominating petition. The Cascade Party does not want to be on the 2024 Washington presidential ballot. We've informed the state about this. As this situation develops, we still need to gather signatures. Washington state registered voters, sign our digital nominating petition in the
So I'm going to pause it real quick because I don't really know what the rules are for YouTube, and I know that we're not monetized, so I don't really have to stand by the monetization rules, but I also don't want to get in any kind of trouble by playing all of these all the way through. This one should be fine, but we do have a news clip that's going to be coming up in a second, so I'm going to be adding my commentary as possible, or as needed. That being said, so technically speaking, I believe that Krist actually is on the ticket for presidential candidate, but this is only in Washington. The Cascade Party is only in Washington. And from the research that I've done, it seems like they're really just trying to make a wave and make a political movement in the state of Washington. They're trying to better that state. And they're really not worried about the rest of the world at the moment. They're just starting there. So he was kind of saying in an interview that I had watched, he's like, it's kind of dumb that I'm running for president, but only in the state of Washington, because clearly no matter how much support they get, they're not going to get enough support to make any kind of a difference. So they are trying to actively fight against that. I like, as he said a second ago, there's some sort of a rule stating that if you are a party that you have to present a presidential candidate for the race, and they're trying to say that, no, we don't want to do that. We just want to sit here and we want to do our political activism in our own little group. And they're kind of fighting against that. So let's let him finish talking.
link above. We have to
got
collect
crazy eyes there.
signatures now, as the state won't give any new party the opportunity to collect signatures to qualify until 2028. There's information on our site explaining this confounding rule. The Cascade Party of Washington needs 1,000 valid signatures by the end of July to qualify as a bona fide minor party. Click the link above and sign our digital nominating petition today. I'm Krist Novaselic, and thank you for watching.
Y'all are gonna think I'm crazy, but why is he kind of fine? Okay, anyway. Doesn't matter, but no, he got some crazy eyes going on. But yeah, so the Cascade Party of Washington, it seems to be an independent party. I did a bunch of research on it, and there's so little that is actually available. I'm going to show you guys a couple more videos, and then I'm going to get to reading a little bit on their website. You know, personally speaking, I tend to be more in the middle. I grew up very much on the right, and then I started to grow up and kind of look at things through a different lens. Something that I'll mention because I'm kind of running off by myself right now, but I am a queer person. I'm just one of the girlies, I guess. So, I know there was a reason I was trying to bring that up, but I don't remember. Anyway, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous being on here. But yeah, I grew up a little bit on the right, and growing up and just discovering who I am as a person, I started to lean a little bit more to the left, but I'm still pretty central. So I always love the idea of people trying to make a movement in the middle. I like the idea of an independent party. And a lot of people will make the argument of how independent votes count kind of against everything because most of the time they don't really even count. And I think that is a valid statement. But I really think that we need to push for that kind of reform where people can be able to just be in the middle and they can have, you know, different views on things without having to 100%, you know, go for a certain party. I really just think that the Republicans and Democrats are two wings of the same evil bird, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So while I know that he is not the answer to all of our problems, unfortunately, I always like to support people that are going for something different. Also, I'm going to have to look into the dates exactly, but they're going to be running these conventions for the next like couple days. I think the last one's going to be on the 27th, which is actually Gypsy Rose's birthday, as well as some of my friends. But yeah, so on the 27th, which should be next Saturday as of the time of this recording, should be the last convention that they're holding. And the conventions that they're holding, they created a band called the Bonafide Band. And I'll play like a little clip for you here in a second. But basically, they're just holding like music, like they're just holding concerts, and you can go, you can pay a little bit of money for some of them, and I think a couple of them are free. Some of them are all ages, and then some of them are 21 and up, but I'm not sure what the ones for this week are. But if you want to go see somebody who is in Nirvana and you live in the state of Washington for like $15, absolutely go. If you want to go to these conventions, they're not requiring you to sign these petitions, and they're not even going to be talking about politics. They really just want to gather everyone together and create a community. So I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to play a little bit of the Bonafide Band. So that's that. Not too much. I just want to play a little bit of the music. I don't think that should get us in any trouble for copyright since it was just a few seconds. But yeah, no. So it's just going to be, I believe the members of the band are, darn it, I can't remember. It's like an amalgamation of like 3 different bands, and I cannot remember for the life of me the names of the other 2 bands. But the drummer for one of the bands that's involved is actually in Pearl Jam. But unfortunately, I think he's actually working with Pearl Jam right now, so he's not part of the Bonafide party, or the Bonafide band. So I'm pretty sure that the only actual person that you would recognize would be Krist Novaselic. And I feel like such a fake fan. I literally have a print of Kurt Cobain on my wall, and I also have like a bunch of Nirvana t-shirts and the whole 9 yards. And honestly, up until I started looking into this, I probably would have forgotten Krist's name off the top of my head. And it's Krist, not Chris. It's Krist. I don't remember what country he said he was from, but he's from a different country, and he actually ended up living there for like a year or two, right before Nirvana started, maybe like in his late teens, early 20s, something like that. And he said that it was really good for him culturally to just see what's going on in different parts of the world. So let's see. I've got a news clip right here talking about more, talking more about this band. I'm so sorry. I'm not used to this by myself. Anyway.
Novaselic's love for music started at a young age.
I've always been a music fan.
Since he can remember, he listened to 8-track tapes with his dad.
And I would listen to all the great rock and roll music.
And then he started making his own music.
And we started this band. It was called Nirvana. And we just wanted to make music and not be mainstream.
There he is. Also, side note, isn't it kind of funny how like their intent was to not be mainstream with it, and then you think of like the actual definition of like a mainstream rock band, and like it's just Nirvana. I don't think he mentions this in this particular interview, but I've seen other interviews of him where he'll talk about how he'll literally just go to Walmart and he'll see like 2 or 3 people in Nirvana shirts, and he'll come up to them and he'll be like, "Oh my God, I love your shirt," and they'll be like, "Oh my God, thank you," and then they're just gonna go on with their day. And honestly, like I said beforehand, before this, I totally would have just walked past him and thought nothing of it and just thought it was a cute little interaction. But I just think that's really fun. But anyway, I'm going to keep going.
To do something new and something different, and we took the influences that we grew up with and we made this new kind of music.
A new kind of music that would start the grunge movement in Seattle in the late 1980s, changing the music industry as we knew it. 30 years after Nirvana ended, Novaselic is again trying to break the mold, this time with a new political party.
Cascade Party is about empowering people, and there's new tools, communication tools to do that, and we're excited about that.
So I can't remember the name of the book off the top of my head, but in some of the articles that I read, Krist was talking about how there was a book that came out that basically said that whoever the media and social media can relate to, whatever political party or political candidate that social media can relate to and get people on their side, those are the parties that will have the most influence, which sounds like a pretty basic statement. But basically, he went into this whole entire creation of this party with that thought in mind, and they actually have their own social network, and it runs through, let's see if I can find it. It's not on this other page I have. Okay, I'm not going to ruin myself trying to pull it up. But yeah, they run their own private social network. And so basically, if you live in the state of Washington, you can just join their social network, and you can join their party, and you can become a candidate for any sort of thing that you want to run for. And yeah, let's see. Let me get back in here.
To get people excited, he launched a new band called the Bonafide Band.
And we need to get 1,000 ballot signatures to qualify as a bona fide party. So these shows are basically political conventions, but there's not going to be hardly any speeches from the stage. We're not going to go up there and just clobber people with a bunch of rhetoric. Just basically, please sign the petition if you want to see a new party in Washington State.
From the west side to the east side, they'll perform across the state, including in Novaselic's hometown of Aberdeen for World Music Day.
We're just going to...
Does that little riff almost kind of sound a little familiar to you? It doesn't sound like it's exactly Smells Like Teen Spirit, but I listened to a little bit more of this clip somewhere else, and yeah, no, I love it. I think they're like kind of fusing like some of the Nirvana songs and some of the other people's songs together, and I love it. I fucking love it.
Make music. And
also, real quick while I'm paused, I think it's crazy that they just need 1,000 signatures. They need to collect 1,000 signatures just to make this a party, and I don't know if it has officially gone into effect yet. I have not been able to find that anywhere. I've not been able to find out if they've actually gotten the 1,000 signatures. But it's kind of crazy to me that someone who's literally in Nirvana has to go and try and struggle to find 1,000 signatures. So I'm telling you guys, if you live in the state of Washington, even if you don't agree with all of the things that they talk about and all the things that they stand for, I just think it's great to see somebody else standing up and doing something. But anyway.
Try to make people happy and entertain people. And yeah, and if it brings back memories and feelings for people, that's the magic of music.
A magic that comes with great joy and also sorrow.
What's it like looking back on that time of your life, the time of Nirvana and that era? What's it like to look back on that now?
It's bittersweet. When I think of like when Nevermind came out in 1991, and then when Kurt died in 1994, that was like 3 years. And it seems like that time span was like 10 years. Like there was so much going on. There was so intense. And then the way it ended, it was just like devastating.
2024 is especially hard since it marks 30 years since the untimely death of Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain.
I just connected with like Pat and Dave and Francis, and we just remembered and just kind of connected and reflected, and you survive that thing.
You know, I'm trying to imagine being a part of such an iconic band, but just thinking that would have been when he was back in his 20s. This was 30 years ago. So he's lived more life since this band than he lived by the time that he was in and left this band. And it's just so crazy to reflect on something like that. And I don't know. It's just like in every single interview I've seen of him, it seems like he just kind of wants to talk about the party or talk about his views or different things. And people just keep bringing Nirvana into it. We have actually reached out to Krist. And as much as I love Nirvana, if he ever reaches back out to us, we would just like to talk about, you know, what he's got going on now. So I think it's interesting. They keep bringing up Kurt Cobain, and I don't think it's really the appropriate time to discuss it here. But I've had conflicting feelings over Kurt Cobain over the years. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the documentary Soaked in Bleach. It's very informative, although it's controversial. I've kind of gone back and forth between whether or not I believe Kurt Cobain did what they say he did. There's a lot of suspicious things with Courtney Love, but at the same time, I find it harmful as someone who's lost multiple people to suicide. You just feel conflicted. It's like, if he really did die that way, not that they're not going to ask him anything about that in this interview, by the way, but if he really did die that way, it's just really sad to have so many people question it over the years. I mean, I've seen t-shirts with his note on it, and it's just absolutely wild to me, but I'm sorry. I'm just pausing so I don't get in trouble.
You just deal with it, and then you count your blessings and be positive for what you have and who you have, and just that's life.
A life that for Novaselic has come with blessings, heartache, and always music. Holly Menino, Como News.
Okay, that's that. So yeah, Krist Novaselic. He's got the Cascade Party of Washington. Now let's see if I can. Okay, this is a direct thing from their platform. Let's see. It's going to be cascadeparty.org, and it just kind of goes over their platforms and the things they believe. Something that I think is worth highlighting is they speak a lot about the homelessness in Washington and really everywhere else, but specifically Washington, because this is a Washington party. That being said, okay, let me read exactly they say. So under social good, it says, we understand, appreciate, and promote wealth creation and success. We recognize the role markets and trade's role in our prosperity. We also know that government can prevent the abuses of capitalism and promote long-term desirable outcomes with education, research, and environmental sustainability. Government has an obligation to find solutions to poverty and homelessness. We support urban density and an efficient building permitting. We support care pathways for individuals experiencing chronic addiction and debilitating mental illness in our streets, fund law enforcement, and diversion programs like drug court. So that's just one little part of that. I do want to say, though, in an interview that I had watched of his, he did state that if he's going to provide help to the homeless population, they're going to require them go through a drug screening first and make sure that they remain sober. Now, on one hand, I do understand that. As somebody who has friends and family that have both struggled or are in active addiction, I can understand how helping people that are addicts can be difficult sometimes. But I don't know how I particularly feel about not offering any help to those that are addicted. Again, it's super, super difficult to love somebody that has an addiction. But at the same time, I feel like everyone needs our help. And I don't know. I don't really know what to say about that. So that's something I don't necessarily agree with them on. But I do really like the fact that they are at least trying to help out the homeless population. Another thing that I don't know how I really feel about is they say that they support a competitive, transparent healthcare market with advertised pricing, and they support credit scoring. I have not fully formed my opinions yet on the healthcare system, but I know that this country's fucked, and I know that I have bills out the asshole, literally so crazy. And I've barely gotten anything done. I mean, I did not go to the doctor for several years, so I don't know how I feel about that. But at the same time, I also know that in like Canada and stuff like that, the ER trips, they take forever. I mean, it takes literally forever to even get inside. So there's quite a bit of other things that they advertise on their platform, but unfortunately, it's not super informative. For the longest time, when I first started looking into this, I actually thought it was more satirical. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Pastafarianism, and that's something that I would love to do a deep dive on soon. I'm actually planning on creating my own channel and doing like more informative, more put together videos, because this is kind of just like we're just figuring our stuff out. But yeah, no, so I want to get my own platform eventually, and I would like to make a video on Pastafarianism. But basically, Pastafarianism started. It's the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, if anyone's ever heard that. And basically, I wouldn't say it was like in 2005, there was a guy named Bobby, and he wrote a letter to Kansas City, I want to say. It was Kansas City, because they were talking about teaching Christianity within the science classes in the schools. And their thought process and their stance behind it was, if we teach Christianity within the science portion of the school, we should also teach any other religion that wants to be a part of, the whole thing. And so basically he just went to this whole thing about how there's a flying spaghetti monster and how he rules the world, touching us with his noodly appendage. And I actually have the Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster book. I have a Flying Spaghetti Monster t-shirt. So like I am in deep with this. It's just been a minute since I've really looked into it. But basically I thought it was kind of satirical like that. It was more sort of proof of point. Like, we can make this party, so we will make this party. But after doing a little bit more research, it actually looks like there's something behind it. There's substance behind it. And they're actually actively trying to make a change in their area. So I can always respect trying to make an active change. That being said, I think I've said all that I have to say about the Cascade Party of Washington for now. But go ahead, look it up for yourself, see what they're all about if you have any curiosities. I was also super shocked to see they only have like 5,000 followers on TikTok, and all the videos that I showed you, they have very few views, very few likes. And there was another video that I had loaded up, but I wasn't able to actually get on here. Basically it's just Krist, playing his accordion. He's playing the accordion, and it just says Novaselic 2024, and that's the thing that got the most amount of views. And it barely has any views. It has like 1,000 views or some shit like that, which is absolutely crazy to me. So yeah, we're trying to get on this early, see if we can at least get the word out. But yeah, so we're gonna take our first commercial break. And I'm going to be playing Apostle is a Pistol by Cade Roth and the Black Sheep. If you feel like we play too many of the same songs over and over again, it's because we only have the rights to play certain music. But this is actually my cousin's husband. I've actually never met him in person before, but he's really talented. So that's why we have this on here. And you probably have to talk to Joel, who is the guy who runs this whole entire thing, to make sure. But I'm pretty sure if anyone has a band or they make their own music and they want to be on some podcasts, you can reach out to us and we might actually be able to put your stuff on here. So that being said, let's go ahead and take our break.
opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back. That was Papa Was a Pistol by Kane Roth and the Black Sheep. Again, like I said, my cousin's husband. Never met the guy, but he fucking rocks. And that's all I can say about that. Maybe I should pick up guitar. I didn't realize nobody knows anything about me. But yeah, hi. I used to be a musician. I kind of like stopped doing it a few years ago, partially because I got lazy, partially because I got into a toxic relationship, and partially just because I don't really know. That being said, I think it would be really cool for me to get back into music, and maybe I could play something sometime, but no promises on that one. No promises on that one. I hope you guys are kind of enjoying this solo show. I don't see any comments yet, which is the day when I actually need you guys to come pull through for me because I don't really know how to do things on my own. That's okay. I've done like I said before, I've done a couple of like TikTok live streams by myself, which have actually been somewhat successful. But the TikTok live streams I was doing by myself, there were a lot of comments. Okay. And then also I have a really bad tendency to like overshare. I'll sit here and I'll like tell you everything about my freaking life. It's ridiculous. So I'm trying not to do that now. I may or may not have had a couple sips of happy juice. So if I'm a little like off, like as comparison to normal, that's why I was just a little bit nervous coming on here to speak with you guys. But I am absolutely so immensely grateful for every single viewer that pops into here, whether you're in the chat or just watching, if you're sharing, if you're anything. We appreciate you. And my mom's not here to say otherwise, but I know she would not disagree with me. We are more concerned with building a community of like-minded people or just people that like having conversations, because this show has mostly just been a place where we can have cool conversations with interesting people, and you know, it varies, but yeah. So anyway, the next topic that we're going to be talking about is the Seine River in Paris. So let's see, let me pull up my notes real quick. So let's see. Okay, so the Seine is a river that runs through Paris, and swimming has actually been illegal there since 1923 due to its filth. It's fallen victim to sewage overflow during heavy rain periods, and basically any time that it rains really heavy, it all dumps into the Seine. It's absolutely crazy. So here's a little video real quick to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Oh, of course, I want to show you again.
Brother,
what it looks like.
What's that, brother?
Yeah, so that's nasty. I just kind of wanted to give you like a little bit of a preface of what was going on. So yeah, that's the Seine River. As I said before, since 1923, is that what I said? I can't remember if it was 32 or 23. Anyway, it's been illegal to swim in there because it's been so freaking disgusting. That being said, the Paris Olympics are actually coming around pretty quick, and there's a place that they are holding all of the other water sport activities, but for some reason they decided that the people that are actually going to put their faces and their entire bodies in the water is going to be the Seine. So I don't know about you, but personally speaking, I could not jump in that river. But the Paris government, or I guess the French government, has been taking a lot of people's tax dollars for about a year now, ever since like the Paris Olympics have been announced. And they have been doing a lot of projects to clean up the Seine. And I think there's somebody that could say it a little bit better for me, because she's actually in Paris. Patty. So let's see what she has to say.
Of Paris has taken a dip in.
Oh, that's the wrong one. 1 second.
The Paris poo protest update from the Seine. It's June 23rd, so it's protest day, and this.
I actually didn't mention that. I totally left that out. Yeah, so a bunch of people in Paris are actually really upset that people are using their tax dollars to fund this, because they basically feel like it is a lost cause, and that no matter what you do to this river, it's still going to be so gross that you should not be swimming in it. So they're like, okay, listen, you're not taking the boats out of here. You're not slowing down like the normal activities of this area. So what we're going to do is we're going to shit in the river. We're going to shit in the river. We're going to shit in the river, and you guys are just going to have to deal with it. And we're going to make it even more difficult. Any cleanup efforts that you guys have gone forth and tried to achieve, yeah, we're just going to completely X through that and we're going to shit in the river. So that's why she's saying the Paris poop protest. Let's continue.
Is what the Seine looks like. The Paris Olympics start in 1 month and the Seine is supposed to be swimmable for the water.
I mean, literally look at that. Look at that. I don't remember when the video I just played was actually recorded and posted, but look at that. This was a month ago.
Events, but after spending over €1 billion, it is still full of bacteria and sewage. The French are obviously very upset that their money has gone to waste, and nobody in Paris wants the Olympics to happen here because it's super disruptive to everyday life and has cost too much money. The president, Emmanuel Macron, and the Paris mayor, Anne Hidalgo, said they'd swim in the Seine to prove it's clean on June 23rd, which is today. And so in the true French protest way, citizens decided to poop in the Seine to show their anger and contaminate the supposedly clean water. They had a website and a hashtag dedicated to it. Was it probably a joke?
I mean, look at that. I mean, you don't have to go to the bathroom in that to, I mean, look at that. That is not clean. There's absolutely no way.
Yes, but did some people do it? Maybe. But today is June 23rd.
What does it say? June 20th. Oh, she literally said June 23rd. I was trying to read the little thing. Okay. Yeah, June 23rd. So that was the 23rd. And what did you say? The 25th or something was when the mayor was supposed to swim in it. Didn't end up happening. Can't even imagine. That's freaking crazy. Anyway.
And the Seine is not ready at all. The swim has been postponed to the week of July 15th. I don't know if anyone pooped in it today. I didn't wait around to watch, but as you can see, they've already built stands for people to watch the opening ceremony and the swimming events in the river, so they seem confident. It's been illegal to swim in the Seine since 1923, so I'm not convinced, but stay tuned for Olympics updates this summer from me while living in Paris.
Oh, literally crazy. Literally crazy. So, as stated, no, the mayor did not end up going swimming in that. But what was it? A couple days ago? I'll just show you.
Fulfilling a promise to show that the river is clean enough to swim in during the 2024 Olympics. Daily water quality tests in June revealed unsafe levels of E. coli bacteria in the famous waterway. The Seine will host several open water swimming events during the Games, including marathon swimming and the swimming legs of the triathlons.
So yeah, you just saw Parisian Mayor Anne Hidalgo, I think that's her name. Yeah, she did eventually end up swimming in the Seine, and oh my God, looking at that happening, what a brave lady. That's all I can say. I want to wait a couple days and see if she gets like any kind of infections or pink eye or something like that, because I literally cannot fathom doing something like that. And it's crazy that they literally just wasted all these people's tax dollars. And I wonder how the Olympians feel about this, how the Olympic swimmers feel about this, because personally speaking, could not be me. But yeah, so I know this has been kind of a boring show today. I've only had a few viewers, which is totally cool. And no comments. I mean, come on, guys. I thought we were gonna like have a little party here together, but that's fine. It's fine. So anyway, I'm probably actually going to call this a little bit early just because I've only prepared a couple different things to talk about and I don't have something to bounce my ideas off of. But that being said, I still so much appreciate every single last one of you guys who stuck through it with me. We're having a good time. And maybe I'll go like live on TikTok a couple times to try and like get myself back in the groove. So I mean, I've kind of been out of this for like a minute. I've always wanted to start my own YouTube channel, but I've kind of just been very distracted in life recently. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to put the effort into it. So my mom comes to me one day and she's like, hey girl, like, you know, this podcast that I've been talking about starting for like literally ever. Well, I have an opportunity to do it with an actual like organization, which is MBR. Thank you very much for all of your help. And she asked me if I'd be your co-host. So I was like, yeah, sure. What's up, girl? I got you. So I'm mostly just gonna pop in here and I'm just here for like comedic relief or whatever you want to say. I guess I haven't been very funny today. But anyway, yeah, I'm just here to like have her bounce her ideas off me and vice versa. And that's really the extent of what this has been. So I'm just here chilling. I'm trying to figure the whole thing out. I really do enjoy content creation, and there's a lot of things that I want to bring forth to you guys in the future. So I really hope that you will stay with us and stay with me. We appreciate every single last one of you guys. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have that much to say other than that. So I think I'm going to call it. I don't know. I think this is it. Anyway, much love to everyone. Please join us next week. My mother should be back, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better. But I hope it's at least a little bit more. I feel like it was a little more structured than normal because I did have some videos, and I finally figured out how to do that. So hopefully when I'm back with my mother, we can kind of just like do the whole thing. So anyway, much love. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for watching my first solo show. Danny says bye too. Bye, bitch.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.
Oh, I thought I logged out, but apparently I hadn't. But since you guys are still here, I guess I might as well say, follow me on TikTok at Alura Flowers. That's ALAURA, and then flowers. Yeah, so follow me, and maybe I'll go live there. Maybe we'll have like a good ass time. Again, sorry, this is a bit of a mess, but I love you all. Bye.